This is Perspectivas Latinas, a community service of CAN TV. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Our guests today are from Central State SER, a nonprofit with a focus on workforce development and education. Clelia Fierro and Abram Garcia are here to talk about their work. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, let's start off by talking about you individually and what you do at Central State SER.
Sure.
Clelia, please.
Once again, my name is Clelia Fierro. I'm the center manager at the Cicero Workforce Center. I've been with the company for over 7 years now.
Wow.
I run the adult program there. We assist adults in finding employment and training opportunities. We work with low-income adults, dislocated workers, and youth.
Okay. 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What's kept you on?
I think it's being able to help people and those that actually come back to you and say thank you. Because without, the opportunity to being able to go to school, I would be in the streets. We have a lot of homeless people that we work with, unemployed people for years. So it is great to see how individuals are able to get back to the workforce.
Wow, that's awesome. We'll definitely get more into that as we move along. Abram Garcia, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about yourself and what you do at Central State SER.
So I recently stepped into my new position. I'm the Department of Human Services coordinator. We have a huge contract with Department of Human Services where we get referred people that are receiving TANF and SNAP, so it's like cash and food assistance.
Okay.
And the idea is to help these people get them job ready and then find them employment.
Okay.
So the idea, and it falls in line with our mission, to kind of give them some upward mobility and some economic self-sufficiency.
Okay, let's talk a bit about that mission before we get into the programs themselves. What's the main push behind SER and some of that history that's brought this organization about?
So I can actually just say our mission because I've memorized it since.
That's fine.
So Central State SER's mission is to promote upward mobility and economic self-sufficiency to community residents, and we do that through education and employment.
Kind of what I touched on in the intro, which is fine. And through education, let's start with those programs because you work a lot with youth. As I was researching your website and just reading about your organization, I was like, wow, they're basically running schools. It seems like. So you have the WIA Yes programs, and tell me about those because you said as we were talking before the show that it's divided into two parts. Tell me about that.
So we have a youth program that's the Poder program that works with kids in grammar school from 5th to 8th grade, and what they do is just come to the schools and they tutor the children. They do activities, and so
who comes to tutor them?
We have staff.
Okay.
So people that work for the organization, they come in and they tutor kids at the schools. So we work with different schools and principals throughout the Chicagoland area, and then the purpose is to ensure that help them in their academics, but also it's to keep them out of the streets. They do perform different activities, and they block parties, and so they get connected to different organizations in which they can do activities and promote the program and get kids involved with their families.
Okay, so you mentioned two things that I think will awaken some curiosity from our viewers. Activities and different organizations. What kind of activities?
I can touch base on that. Actually, when I first started with Central State SER, I worked for the Poder program, so I know the program pretty well.
And what does Poder stand for?
Positive outcomes delivered through education and respect.
Okay.
That's what Poder stands for. It also kind of translates from Spanish, meaning power. And I used to always give it to our students as this is a sense of empowerment, right?
Okay.
We're trying to empower you as young people. The focus was to tutor them in math, English, and then later on science. We incorporated science in there. But also there was like this social emotional development aspect. So we wanted to develop them as young people, right, to become these upstanding citizens, right, in our society.
Right.
A lot of the activities we did was like discovery projects. They could be like cultural, so learning about different cultures around the world. It could be more career-based. Like I did a discovery project where we developed bridges, like with popsicle sticks or with straws and things like that, to try to get them thinking like you can do this, you can one day be an engineer. And I would later on, like at the end of the day, would follow the lesson plan with that mentality. Like
Mm-hmm.
this potentially can be a career. You guys think you're having fun, and they were,
Okay.
but to follow that with no, this can be a potential career path if you really enjoy doing this, and if you're good at it. Like this is something that you can follow through with like later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Other activities was we were big on trying to take them to field trips, like Shed Aquarium,
Okay.
Planetarium. You know, the typical Chicago area of field trips.
How
But,
many children would you take on these field trips at a time?
So each school had about 60 students.
And how
we-
many schools?
When I first entered, we had 7 schools. We operated
That's a
in
lot of
7
kids.
schools, and they were across Chicago, which
Oh.
was great. Like
Mhm.
we were on the south side, we were inner city, and we were in the north side.
Mm-hmm.
We currently only operate in 3 schools, unfortunately, because it's nonprofit. We're grant based. Some grants just ended, but new grants started.
Mm-hmm.
It's a program that we're constantly trying to renew and stretch to other schools. Like we've done good at one school, we want to move on and like do good at other schools. That's kind of our idea because we leave behind like that curriculum and that establishment with the school. So
Okay, and so you said you partner up with organizations. Are the organizations other nonprofits or just schools that you work with?
organizations
Mhm.
like we had it's I forgot what the company's called, but it's literally these people that they drive around in a truck and with a flatbed in the back, and in the flatbed they literally made into a garden, and they come to our
Into a garden
students.
on a.
They have a garden. They have a garden in the flatbed of their truck. It's amazing what these people can do. And the
Mhm.
idea is to teach the young people about like having a less of a footprint. You know,
Mhm.
like making
Carbon
sure-
footprint.
carbon footprint.
Mhm.
Where they're teaching about their level of waste, recycling,
Mhm.
trying to be more eco-friendly, things like that, and also implementing the importance of preservation of our like green space. So they showed them eco-friendly ways to like create like pots with plants and things like that,
Mhm.
how they can easily start growing like their own little gardens.
And how do, and these are, that sounds incredibly interesting, and it does, and something out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
How did the children respond to that, and their parents? I mentioned they were quite surprised.
They loved it. At the end of the day, they all went home with a plant that took nothing away from the environment, and was made by recyclable materials.
Wow.
So then they loved it, and they all came back a few weeks later to tell me like how their plant has grown and things like that. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's the Poder program. That's for
Yes.
the children 5th to 8th grade.
yes,
Okay. And then what happens when they're teenagers? So you just say, "Oh, goodbye." Obviously you
Right.
don't.
We have a We at Youth program from, we work with youth between the ages of 16 to 21. Youth are at risk of gangs or violence, dropouts that need to get their GED. We actually have GED instructors that come in and help the youth get their GED. In correlation with that, also youth have the opportunity to go into a training program. Let's say they're interested in manufacturing, or they want to become a CNA, a certified nursing assistant. So a combination of both. They're getting their GED, but at the same time they're going to a school which they're getting either a license or a certificate that's going to help them find a job at the end when they're finished. So what we try to do is promote the kids to either go to college or get a occupation.
And what school, college do you partner with to?
We
carry
work
this
with
out?
all city colleges,
Okay.
and we work with most city colleges and also all the community colleges, because we work in Cicero. We have a location in Cicero. And
So
we
you
work
also
with
work
the
with Morton College there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and a lot of private schools. So our funders determine the schools that we can assist and send youth to, but we work with a lot of private schools also.
Okay, for me it's, I guess sadly it's surprising to know that part of your mission is to work with people who've had some trouble with the law, because it's rare for anybody to work with that population. I think we focus on, I think a lot of organizations focus on serving the community, but not necessarily those individuals. Do you have any examples of people that have had some trouble or seeking a way to remake their life, and they're doing great now, or they found a path to a better life?
We have a youth that was enrolled at our Cicero location.
Mm-hmm.
He had some trouble with gangs. You know, had to drop out. He came into our doors. He started the youth program. He got his GED.
Mm-hmm.
They found him a job at Chipotle. Interestingly enough, he has been working at Chipotle for 2 years, got his GED, and just recently helped us, did a fundraiser at Chipotle. He's promoted to manager
Oh,
and
wow.
in the works of opening his own Chipotle in another location. So, you know, it's amazing to go by there and just see him, and he is very supportive to our organization because he, you know, he received the help and the motivation. The staff that work with the youth are very, they work very closely with them. So, you know, they're able to go and visit them at the home if they don't come back, if they don't call us. We go and do home visits, you know, so we try to reach out as much as possible to make sure that we don't lose our youth.
Wow, and that must be a transformative experience for these individuals that really say, I need to remake my life, and I need to do more than, you know, just this trouble I've been in. Because I think a lot of times we tend to, when we incarcerate or people get in trouble with the law, we tend to
Stereotype.
or we can have the stigma, and it's very difficult to remake their life. And it's, I guess, I'm just thinking so much about, like, reflecting on things I've seen in my community and, like, the needs there are, and, like, it's refreshing to see an organization actually that takes that on. So that's working with the youth that get into some trouble. What other programs do you have for youth? Because you also have, well, we kind of touch on them, Bridges to Pathways, right?
Correct. We also have our Youth Build program. We are working with a college that provides youth who have, you know, who have a trouble with the law, and we put them into a program where they learn the basics of construction.
Okay.
So
You touched on that earlier. Yeah, tell me more about that, though.
So what they do is really they go through a training program at the college, and they learn the basics of construction. And the purpose that we're trying to develop now is promote either get them into jobs or have some type of internships that they can go in and develop these skills more under an apprenticeship program.
Okay.
So, you know, we're in the makings of trying to make this bigger than what it already is, and, you know, making sure that our youth, you know, are able to find employment.
What are the plans for growth? You want to add more people or expand this program beyond construction?
Yeah, we're trying to develop some career paths. So trying to see if, you know, we develop internship programs, apprenticeship programs. We either they're electricians or you know, plumbers or something that it's hands-on. That we have a lot of youth that are able, you know, that are hands-on, that they can involve in the trainings and learn. Because one thing is to learn it at, you know, at a classroom, and another thing is to actually go and practice what you've learned and be under mentoring, you know, through someone.
And those career paths, I think. With the way technology has gone, and you know, we're living in what we call the information age, those careers that you mentioned, like such as an electrician or a plumber or somebody in construction, those jobs can't be outsourced, right? They can't be sent to India or somewhere else where they could be done on a computer and sent over here. So I think, you know, it's awesome that you're actually helping people come into those careers, because they're really not going to disappear.
Right.
And, and you also have the Project Onward, right? Could you tell me a little more about Project Onward, or is it related to also people that have been had some gang issues?
That's right. That's our recently grant that we just received. It's also helping youth that we do a lot of you know, intervention. So a lot of what we do is ensuring that the youth that already been in trouble, try to get them out of that trouble, and ensuring that they get their GEDs. So a lot of our youth programs are prevention based, and they're geared to helping youth to get out of the streets. So that's one of our programs that we recently have a grant for, and that's helping the youth between, once again, the ages of 16 to 21, in which now the youth age is going to be to 24 instead of 21, because we have a lot of more, you know, youth that stay home or that drop out, and so soon we'll have youth up to 24.
Up to 24.
Mhm.
Well, it's just, I guess this economy's been in such a difficult period that you're responding to that difficulty as well. So that's a new program, and
It
mhm.
specifically targets, I don't know if you mentioned this, the
Mhm.
young people that have involvement in the juvenile
Detention
system,
center.
detention
Okay.
center. So these are kids that are referred to us directly from there.
Okay.
So the idea is to provide them with like leadership skills, civic, like
Mhm.
what do you-
Civic.
yeah, like to be upstanding civilians, things like that, like
Mhm.
community service involvement, leadership skills, stuff like that, to try to, I guess, detach them from the juvenile system
Mhm.
and to try to get them, if not into academics, some
Mhm.
form of employment.
Which both are positive.
Mhm.
You said there. You mentioned a word also that stood out to me: intervention. So, do you know how these interventions work? They're recommended by the court to you,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're core mandated.
court mandated, and they come to you and they go through. How does that process work? Let's say I was told by the court you need to go to Central State SED,
Mhm.
and they can help you out, and I show up. I'm recently out of jail.
You get a case manager assigned to you.
Okay.
And so that person is really the person who will be mentoring you through the program. And we have, teachers that provide, classroom time in different areas to help you develop the skills that you need to either find a job or, how to look for employment, how to dress, how to talk. How do you talk about your background? How do you let an employer know that what the trouble that you've been through,
Right.
who you are now as an individual, and what your goals are in the future. So a lot of that is, we teach our youth how to talk about that, and through someone that can mentor them and provide the skills they need and the guidance, the resources to help them meet their goal and to help them through the program.
Okay, and that's for youth, and we've been focused mainly on that for this part of the show. Let's move on to adults. I know some of these programs kind of bridge between youth and adults because it is about workforce. But what programs do you specifically have for adults?
We also have the We Are Youth program. I'm sorry, the We Adults program.
Okay.
So we already talked about youth.
Yeah.
Our We Adult program, we assist individuals.
So it's not WIA, it's WIA.
WIA, it's the same thing, WIA, but in short we call it WIA.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a federally funded program that assists people who are low income and dislocated workers to get back into the workforce. So people have to come in for an orientation, and depends, what is the nearest workforce center to them. But what we do is we provide an orientation and we let people know what the program is about. So if they are eligible for the program, they get to meet with a career counselor. And what that person does is, once again, tell them about all the training programs that we have. There's 7 targeted industries that we can send someone to go to school, receive a license, a certificate, and then be able to find a job.
Okay.
So, we have someone that's interested, once again, in going to, medical assistant program. They go through the medical assistant program, and then we assist them in finding jobs that are related to what they went to school for.
Okay, what are, if you can't recall, the 7 areas besides medical assistant program?
We have healthcare,
Healthcare,
transportation and logistics. We
Okay.
have IT,
IT, wow, okay.
business,
Mhm.
and then we have
It's okay if you can't recall them.
manufacturing.
Manufacturing.
And we do some programs. Can't remember the other 2.
Which is fine. If people are interested or curious, they could look at your website and send an email or give a call. Yeah, but it's just to give people an idea. And so you have these areas where you help people get back into the workforce. How often, or actually how long, are people usually out of the workforce when they come to you?
It varies. I mean, a couple of years ago, unemployment was 2 years. They were
Okay.
able to receive unemployment benefits for 2 years. Nowadays, it's only 6 months.
Mm.
So we always try to reach out when people are receiving unemployment at the beginning, just because it's taking longer now to find a job. So the longer you are unemployed, the longer it's going to be for you to find employment. It's going to be very difficult. So, we have people that have been out of the workforce for years. And
Wow.
so, And it varies. We have some that are very eager to get back into the workforce. So we try to see where people are at, meet them there, and be able to provide the resources, meeting their goals.
Abraham, you wanted to add something? Abram, I'm sorry. You wanted to add something here?
I was going to say the experience we have with Department of Human Services is the same. It's across the board. Sometimes people come, I just lost my job a month ago. And then we have people like, I lost my job and I haven't worked for 2 years. So it's across the board.
And what is, well, I guess maybe not having the skills is one of the most difficult parts, but besides the training, do you provide counseling or something else? Because I'm sure it's a very difficult period for these individuals and their families to be.
Well, we provide different type of workshops. We provide workshops for resume development. We provide workshops on interviewing skills. We have people that had one job for 20 years and all of a sudden they found themselves unemployed. So, you're starting all over again. You don't know how to interview. This job market is way different now than it was, 5 years ago even. So we teach people how to do all these things. How to talk to an employer, how to update your skills.
Building their confidence.
Correct. Yeah, a lot of that. So we do have many workshops to help people do that. We have a case manager that is assigned to an individual, and this person, once again, walks them through, the different industries they can go into, calls them every month and try to find out what are they doing on their own to look for a job. We try to get them in our office to ensure that, that they're following through. We try to keep people motivated because we know that if people are not motivated, then they fall through the cracks, right? So we try to develop different activities. We have also staff that develop jobs for our customers. So what we try to do is go and network with employers. So are you looking for individuals? So we have people in our caseloads that we can connect them to these jobs. How can we work together? So our work is not only with the customers, our work is also with companies, with employers.
Connecting them to these individuals, and you maintain a good relationship with them. Okay, we are getting close to the end of the show, and I also want you to talk about the program you have for seniors, right? For older adults we're talking about young people that are having difficulty finding a job, but older adults are having a much harder time, right?
That's our CSEP program. So CSEP stands for Senior Community Service Employment Program. So that's federal funds that we can use to pay seniors to go out into the workforce and get like hands-on training. They're working, but at the same time being trained on these new skills. It encourages the employers to accept seniors that may have like limited skills in like secretarial or clerical work and things like that. So, because we're providing the funds for it, right? We're the ones, or the government's the one paying them, but they're out there like getting hands-on experience. And through that, eventually can become employed by that employer or use those skills and experience to go out and look for employment elsewhere.
Oh, that's awesome. It's awesome. And I'm sure it's something that gives them a new sense of life, because it can be so difficult. Well, this show is supposed to be a general show about your organizations. Tell us about the different events you have throughout the year. So people that might be curious and supporting or coming out to them can.
We have started doing a wine tasting event. It's at the beginning of the year, and that's to raise funds for the organization, for the youth. A lot of the funding we have is federally funded, so it's restricted funds. So sometimes we need to help youth and bring them to cut their hair or to get glasses or to the dentist, and so we use these funds to do the things that we normally wouldn't be able to do them with, with the normal funding. So our wine tasting is then we have our Sabor, Color y Cultura event, which is our annual fundraiser. And it's like a salsa event, and that's usually close to the end of the year.
Close to the end of the year, okay. And you have a gala?
That's our Sabor, Color y Cultura
that's
event.
close to the end of the year? Okay. Okay. That's not that doesn't really have a set time period every year, like.
It's usually mid-August. Yeah.
Okay. Mid-August. Okay, second half of the year.
Correct.
Okay.
Other things that we got going on throughout the year are hiring event or job fairs that we do. So as she mentioned about our career specialists, they not only coach our people, and we have a job developer also, and it's their job to go out and look for jobs pretty much. It's an interesting position. But We directly refer our clients to employers,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, we host these job fairs where we invite employers up to 20. I think one time we had 25 employers. It was
Wow.
this incredible event, and we had more than 600 people come out, and a lot of people found great opportunities.
And it sounds like you're doing incredible work, and we're out of time. And thank you for joining us. Perspectivas Latinas is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit organization would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune into Perspectivas Latinas for local issues and concerns every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.